the first time Puff and Cassie get in contact with you?
Yo, they called up like they was just hiring a regular party. Cassie hit me directly, said her name was Janet, and said it was her birthday. So her husband said she could hire a dancer. So I just booked it like a regular party. At the time, it was like $200. I gave her a quote. She said she was going to be there with some friends. They gave me an address and the time to show up. And I'm thinking I'm showing up to do a party, just a regular little strip tease for a birthday girl.
But like, that's a great answer. How do they find you? Like, is it ads, internet? Like, how do they even track somebody like you down?
Oh yeah, yo, all my marketing and stuff in my business is like SEO, so Google searches. So if you go online in the New York City area and you put in male strippers for hire or whatever, my website's gonna come up. So they just clicked on the website and called the number, and I just happened to pick up the phone. I don't think they were looking for me specifically.
Right.
I just picked up the phone.
Got you. Where did let's say the first time, where did these events usually happen at? Puff's house, Cassie's house, hotel? Like, where did these events happen at?
I was all super high-end hotels.
Gotcha.
So I remember it was the Trump Tower, Essex House, the London Hotel, the Gramercy Hotel. It was another hotel, Central Park West. I don't know. I don't remember the name, but they were all along the lines of super high-end, super suites. One of the suites, man, in the London Hotel, it was so crazy when I got out of it. I Googled it, and the joint was like $30K a night, yo.
Wow.
I never seen nothing like this in my life, man. The hotel room looked like, you know that scene in the Titanic when they walk in that ballroom and the stairway well comes down?
Right.
Like the hotel room was crazy, man.
How often did they call you or book you?
Like I said in my I can't remember the exact amount of time. So I estimated between 8 and 12 times, but it would be like every few months, but it would be a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Like I would come Friday night, then they come back Saturday night, then come back Sunday. And then I might not be called for 3-4 months, and then they'll just pop up. So at the time, I thought they lived out of town. You know, she would call me from a Cali number. So I assumed they were out of state. And she basically said, yo, can I hit you when we're in town?
Right.
But it would be multiple nights in a row, but months in between.
Right. And if some of these questions that I asked you may seem repeated because you've been asked these same questions, I just want, we have a different audience from with the interviews you've done, and some people may not know the trial or what's happening. So some of these questions, I don't want to seem like it's redundant if you answer them 100 times this week. So I was reading that in the beginning, you didn't even know what was going on, or that it was even Puff was participating. Could you explain your first time going to one of these events?
Yeah, so I really believed they were a married couple. Like when I got there, I didn't recognize Cassie.
Right.
Like I saw her face, she looked familiar, but honestly, when I saw her, I thought she was Megan Good.
Right.
Like if I was gonna pin her, I was like, yo, I think this is Megan Good. But then when I looked on the Google, Megan Good was much thicker. So I couldn't really figure it out. So, and then when she said her husband, when Puff walks out, to finally, do his voyeur thing and see what's going on.
So hold on real quick. It didn't start with Puff in the room.
Nah, it never started with him in the room.
Okay.
It would only be me and her, and she said at some point her husband's gonna walk in and I'm not supposed to acknowledge him, look at him, act like he's not even in the room.
Right.
So we'll be like on the couch, let's say on one end of the room, and then like on the far end of the room, it'll be like a table with a chair. And eventually he'll come in the room and like sit in the area, of course, the room, like watching, and we're supposed to act like he's not there.
How often, pardon me, not how often, how long did it take until you realized that it was Diddy?
Bro, like, I want to say like over a year.
Get the fuck out of here. A whole year? Why? So let me, how long, okay, let's, I want to stick to that for a second, but how long did you know till it was Cassie?
So the minute I found out it was Diddy, that's when I knew it was Cassie.
So it took a year for you to find out for Cassie as well?
Yeah, yo, okay. I didn't recognize it. Like when I jumped out of it, I did try to do the Google searches. Like I wanted to try to figure out who it was, right. But I'm Googling a married couple.
Right.
So every result I'm getting is not leading me to the right places because they're not married.
Got you.
You know, so then, and I never found out with a visual cue. It was a hotel, the ex's house, and I would get there, let's say 2 a.m, and sometimes nothing would pop off for hours. So in this case, they threw me in like an extra room in the suite. Mm-hmm. And just to kill time, I happened to cut on the TV, and the TV had a welcome message. So the TV said, yo, ex's house would like to welcome Mr. Sean Combs. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I had no idea, man.
So that's how you found out that it was Cassie and Diddy by just cutting on the TV and seeing the introduction on the television. Wow.
On the TV.
Wow. I seen also in the transcripts that you would say that it was just a sex scene in the beginning. No intercourse. How long until you had actual intercourse? What was happening in the first few sessions when it wasn't any intercourse?
Nah, it was only the first session where it wasn't intercourse.
Okay, so 10 times, one time it was only not intercourse the first time.
The first time. And it was offered, yo, but I was so bugged out. Like this wasn't my hustle, right? So right. I'm really in there thinking this is a married couple and they want to do some voyeur sexy scene. Mm-hmm. So we did the like set up on the couches, the baby all rubbed down or whatever. And then at some point, Puff jumped up. I didn't know it was him. He left the room. She left the room to talk to him. And she came back like, yo, that was perfect. We happy. We good. Mm-hmm. And then she said to me, yo, do you want to finish? Meaning, you know, I guess, do I want to bust a nut? You know what I'm saying? Right. And my first example, you know, I'm trying to be professional. Like, I'm like, nah, I'm good. Like, if y'all good, I'm good. This ain't about me. And I just left, you know, but she did say, all right, well, when we get back in town, we want to hit you again. Is it okay? I'm like, yeah, I just got $2K to rub down like a super bad chick. So of course I'm down if you want to hit me back. But it was offered to me the first time, and I actually turned it down, yo. Trying to be on some professional.
Right. Was baby oil mandatory?
Mandatory, yo.
Yeah, he got a baby oil. That shit's mandatory. I seen also in the transcripts that you said it was just supposed to be like a sexy scene, meaning that Puff would tell you to move the candles a certain way or tell her to move the candles a certain way for lighting purposes for his visual. Could you explain that?
Yeah, so like when I first got in there, she made it clear that this was a scene we were setting up for her husband.
Okay.
So, you know, it was like couches, all the furniture in the suite was covered in sheets. Like everything was covered in sheets. So it was like a single chair across from like a big sofa. And we were supposed to sit on there and kind of, I'm supposed to put oil on myself. She's supposed to do the same. And then at some point we're rubbing on each other and we doing little like masturbating. I'm masturbating, she's masturbating, but you could tell it was an act.
Right.
Like we're like in character, like one of them corny Cinemax movies. You know what I'm saying? Like right. The sex scene in them little Cinemax movies. So we're trying to make it look like the part, you know, and then he would give subtle cues because he's across the room and the room's dark, everything's candle lit. And he'll say like, yo, move a little bit, yo, move the candle, I can't really see, or move the body. And he would never talk to me, not one word to me, only to her. And if his instructions for me, it goes to her and she tells me. So it was like a real scripted kind of routine. And it really went like that every single time.
So he was basically orchestrating a sex scene without directly talking to you, but telling her certain things.
Exactly.
Wow.